For years, these cases haunted investigators, unsolved, cold, and seemingly impossible to crack. Families were left with questions, communities lived in fear, and the truth seemed forever out of reach. But just when hope seemed lost, a twist so shocking turned everything on its head. Each of these stories defies explanation, proving that in the world of true crime, nothing is ever truly over. How did a dog's chew toy lead to a murderer? What unexpected DNA hit solved a decades-old mystery? And what role did a hand-drawn map play in bringing justice to a grieving family? Let's dive in. Welcome to Crime Bite, the channel where we uncover the darkest mysteries, explore chilling cold cases, and reveal the unbelievable twists that leave us questioning everything we thought we knew. If you're passionate about true crime and love uncovering the unexpected, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Every case we cover reminds us that truth is often stranger than fiction, and justice can take the most unlikely paths. In this documentary, we'll take a closer look at 4 cold cases with mind-bending resolutions that stunned even the most seasoned investigators. These stories are a testament to the resilience of justice, the evolution of technology, and the sheer unpredictability of human behavior. Stay with us as we unravel the details behind these extraordinary cases. California, 1970s. A shadow fell across the state as a string of terrifying crimes began to unfold. Homes were broken into, women were assaulted, and lives were taken. The perpetrator, dubbed the Golden State Killer, seemed to vanish into thin air after each attack. The case grew colder with each passing year, leaving investigators baffled and communities living in fear. The unknown face of the killer haunted the dreams of many, a chilling reminder that justice remained elusive.
Years turned into decades, and the trail seemed to grow colder. But the memories of the victims and the determination of those who sought justice never faded. The Golden State Killer's reign of terror left an indelible mark on California, a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of any community.
As time went on, forensic technology advanced at an unprecedented pace. DNA analysis, once a fledgling science, became a powerful tool for solving crimes. In the case of the Golden State Killer, investigators hoped that this new technology might hold the key to finally unmasking the elusive criminal. They meticulously preserved evidence from the crime scenes, hoping that one day it would yield answers. The break they had been waiting for came when investigators decided to upload a DNA profile from one of the crime scenes to a public genealogy database. This long shot, a gamble in the pursuit of justice, would change everything.
The DNA profile generated a list of partial matches, distant relatives who unknowingly held a piece of the puzzle. Investigators meticulously constructed a complex family tree, tracing lineages back generations in search of a common ancestor. Each name, each connection brought them closer to the identity of the man who had evaded capture for so long. The family tree became a map, guiding investigators through a labyrinth of genetic connections. The investigation led them to Joseph James D'Angelo, a former police officer living a seemingly ordinary life in Citrus Heights, California. Could this unassuming man be the monster who had haunted California for decades?
Investigators placed D'Angelo under surveillance, carefully collecting discarded DNA samples from his trash. The match was undeniable.
On April 24, 2018, authorities arrested Joseph James D'Angelo at his home. The news sent shockwaves across the nation. The Golden State Killer, the phantom who had terrorized California for decades, had a name and a face. In 2020, D'Angelo pleaded guilty to 13 counts of murder and numerous other charges related to his crimes. The plea spared him the death penalty, but ensured that he would spend the rest of his life behind bars.
For the families of the victims, the arrest and conviction brought a long-awaited sense of closure. The nightmare was finally over. The monster had been unmasked.
The case of the Golden State Killer served as a powerful reminder that no matter how much time passes, justice can still be served.
The capture of the Golden State Killer marked a turning point in criminal justice. It demonstrated the incredible potential of genetic genealogy to solve even the most complex and cold cases. Law enforcement agencies across the country began to embrace this groundbreaking technology, using it to crack open cases that had long been considered unsolvable.
The legacy of the Golden State Killer case is one of hope and perseverance. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, the pursuit of justice must never waver. And as technology continues to evolve, we can be certain that more cold cases will be solved, bringing closure to families and holding perpetrators accountable for their crimes. Stanford University, 1974. Nestled amidst the prestigious halls of learning, a chilling discovery sent shockwaves through the campus and beyond. Arliss Perry, a young newlywed, was found brutally murdered inside Stanford Memorial Church. The details of the crime were horrific. Arliss had been sexually assaulted and stabbed to death, her body left in a desecrated altar. The brutality of the act shook the community to its core, leaving them grappling with fear and disbelief. Who could have committed such a heinous act within the hallowed halls of Stanford Memorial Church? The question hung heavy in the air as investigators began their grim task of piecing together the events that led to Arliss's tragic demise.
The murder of Arliss Perry became a haunting reminder that even in seemingly idyllic settings, darkness can lurk in the shadows, waiting to strike.
The investigation into Arliss Perry's murder was intense and wide-ranging. Every possible lead was pursued, every witness questioned, but the case seemed to be a tangled web of dead ends. Suspicions fell on various individuals, from disgruntled employees to strangers passing through the area, but no concrete evidence emerged to link anyone to the crime. Years turned into decades and the case grew cold. The file remained open, a testament to the unsolved mystery that continued to haunt the Stanford campus and the Perry family. The lack of answers only amplified the pain and frustration, leaving Arliss's loved ones trapped in an agonizing limbo of unanswered questions and unfulfilled justice.
Among the chilling details of the crime scene was a peculiar and unsettling discovery: a meticulously placed altar candle found beneath Arliss's body. This seemingly insignificant detail, easily overlooked amidst the gruesome nature of the crime, would later prove to be a crucial piece of the puzzle. The candle, a symbol of faith and hope, had been twisted into a macabre mockery of its intended purpose. It stood as a silent sentinel to the darkness that had invaded the sacred space of the church. Investigators carefully collected the candle, preserving it as evidence, unaware that it held the key to unlocking the mystery that had baffled them for so long.
In the decades since Arliss Perry's murder, forensic technology had advanced significantly. DNA analysis, once a distant dream, had become a powerful tool for solving crimes. Investigators, determined to bring closure to Arliss's case, submitted the evidence for DNA testing. Hope flickered that this cutting-edge technology might finally shed light on the identity of her killer. After years of waiting, the results came back with a match. The DNA profile extracted from the altar candle pointed to a man named Stephen Blake Crawford. Crawford, a former security guard who had been on duty at Stanford the night of Arliss's murder, had been a person of interest in the initial investigation, but there hadn't been enough evidence to charge him.
Armed with this new DNA evidence, investigators finally had the break they needed. They tracked down Stephen Blake Crawford, who was now in his 70s and living a quiet life. In a dramatic confrontation, Crawford confessed to the murder of Arliss Perry. The confession brought a mix of emotions: relief that the truth had finally come to light, but also anger and sadness that it had taken so long.
Crawford's motive for the murder remained a mystery. He claimed to have no memory of the assault, attributing his actions to mental health issues. Stephen Blake Crawford was arrested and charged with Arliss Perry's murder. The case, unsolved for over 4 decades, finally had a resolution. It was a bittersweet victory, a testament to the perseverance of those who never gave up hope that justice would be served.
Los Angeles, a city of dreams, often bathed in the warm glow of the California sun, but in its sprawling underbelly a darkness festered.
From 1985 to 2007, a serial killer dubbed the Grim Sleeper stalked the streets, preying on vulnerable women, often leaving their bodies discarded in alleyways and dumpsters.
The city lived in fear, the shadow of the unknown killer stretching long and ominous. For years, the case went cold.
The killer seemed to vanish, his presence marked only by the chilling trail of victims he left behind. Detectives pored over evidence, chasing down countless leads, but the Grim Sleeper remained a phantom, his identity shrouded in mystery.
The families of the victims clung to hope. desperate for answers, for justice, for closure. The victims, mostly African American women, were more than just names on a police report. They were mothers, daughters, friends, their lives tragically cut short.
Each murder sent shockwaves through the community, a grim reminder that the killer still walked free, a predator lurking in the shadows.
The Grim Sleeper case became a chilling example of how even in a city as vast as Los Angeles, darkness could thrive unnoticed. Years turned into decades, and the hope of finding the killer began to dwindle. The case files gathered dust, the victims' faces faded in the memories of many, but not all.
For some, the pursuit of justice never wavered, fueled by a burning desire to give a voice to the silenced and hold the perpetrator accountable for his heinous crimes. The fight for justice was far from over.
The killer's MO was chillingly consistent: a gunshot to the chest, often at close range, and a callous disregard for human life. The victims, primarily young black women, were often found in the same desolate corners of South Los Angeles, their bodies left exposed, a grim testament to the city's undercurrent of violence.
Detectives worked tirelessly, piecing together the fragments of evidence, searching for any clue that might lead them to the killer. They meticulously documented each crime scene, collecting DNA samples, analyzing ballistic reports, and interviewing potential witnesses. The city held its breath, hoping for a break in the case, a flicker of light in the overwhelming darkness.
Despite their best efforts, the investigation stalled. The DNA evidence, a crucial piece of the puzzle, yielded no match in the national database. Frustration mounted as the Grim Sleeper seemed to melt back into the shadows, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a community grappling with the trauma of his crimes.
The case, once a beacon of hope, threatened to fade into obscurity. But hope, though faint, was not extinguished. Detectives continued to revisit the case, convinced that the answer lay hidden somewhere in the mountain of evidence. They clung to the belief that even the most cunning criminal leaves behind a trace, a whisper of their presence, waiting to be discovered. The pursuit of justice, though arduous and often disheartening, was far from abandoned.
In 2008, a glimmer of hope emerged from an unexpected source-familial DNA searching. This revolutionary forensic technique allowed investigators to search for partial matches in DNA databases, potentially identifying relatives of the perpetrator. It was a long shot, but for the Grim Sleeper case, it was a chance worth taking.
The process was painstakingly slow. Analysts compared the Grim Sleeper's DNA profile against thousands of profiles in the California state database, looking for any familial links, any shred of genetic information that could lead them to the killer. Weeks turned into months, each passing day an agonizing reminder of the family's awaiting answers.
And then, a breakthrough. A partial match surfaced, pointing investigators toward a man named Christopher Franklin, a convicted felon serving time for a weapons charge. Christopher's DNA was similar enough to the Grim Sleeper's to suggest a close familial relationship.
Could Christopher be the key to unlocking the mystery that had haunted Los Angeles for decades? The answer, it turned out, lay within Christopher's family tree. Investigators discovered that Christopher had a father, Lonnie Franklin Jr., who lived in the same area where many of the Grim Sleeper's victims were found. Lonnie, a former garbage collector and mechanic, fit the profile in a chillingly familiar way. Could this be the face of the monster who had terrorized Los Angeles for so long?
Lonnie Franklin Jr. became the prime suspect. Detectives placed him under 24/7 surveillance, meticulously documenting his every move, waiting for him to slip up, to provide them with the irrefutable evidence they needed to make an arrest. The pressure was immense, the weight of decades of unanswered questions bearing down on their shoulders.
The opportunity presented itself in the most unexpected of ways, a discarded pizza crust. Undercover officers, posing as restaurant staff, obtained DNA samples from Lonnie's leftover pizza slice. It was a long shot, a desperate gamble, but the detectives knew that in this high-stakes game, even the smallest piece of evidence could be the key to solving the case.
The results came back with a resounding thud, a perfect match. Lonnie Franklin Jr.'s DNA was on the pizza crust, and more crucially, it was a perfect match to the Grim Sleeper's DNA profile.
After years of dead ends and fading hopes, the monster had a name, a face, and was finally within their grasp. The news reverberated through the city, a collective sigh of relief mixed with a thirst for long-awaited justice.
In 2010, Lonnie Franklin Jr. was arrested and charged with 10 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The evidence against him was overwhelming, the DNA evidence serving as an unbreakable link to his crimes.
The families of the victims, some of whom had waited decades for this moment, wept tears of relief and rage, their loved ones finally vindicated. The grim sleeper's reign of terror was finally over. The year was 1991. The idyllic town of South Lake Tahoe, California, known for its pristine lake and towering pines, was about to be shaken to its core.
On a sunny June morning, as 11-year-old J.C. Lee Dugard walked to the school bus stop, a nightmare unfolded. A gray car pulled up beside her, and in a horrifying instant, she was gone.
The abduction sent shockwaves through the community, leaving everyone to grapple with the chilling realization that even in paradise, evil could lurk around the corner.
As days turned into weeks, then months, then years, the trail went cold. Despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement and the unwavering hope of her family, J.C. Dugard seemed to vanish into thin air.
Unbeknownst to the world, J.C. Dugard was alive, held captive in a hidden backyard compound just miles from where she was abducted. Her captors, Philip and Nancy Garrido, had meticulously crafted a world of isolation and control.
For 18 years, J.C. endured unimaginable horrors, her childhood stolen, her spirit tested. Despite the horrors inflicted upon her, J.C. Dugard clung to life, nurturing a flicker of hope deep within her.
In the face of unimaginable cruelty, J.C.'s spirit refused to be broken.
In 2009, after 18 long years, a glimmer of hope emerged from an unlikely source. Philip Garrido took J.C. and her daughters to the University of California, Berkeley campus to distribute religious pamphlets. It was a reckless move, one that would ultimately lead to his downfall.
Campus police officers, alerted to Garrido's strange behavior, decided to investigate.
They ran Garrido's name through the system, unaware that they were about to uncover a secret that had haunted California for nearly 2 decades. The results came back with a jolt. Philip Garrido was a registered sex offender on parole for a previous kidnapping and rape conviction.
Alarm bells sounded, and the officers immediately detained Garrido and the young girls.
When questioned, J.C., now a 29-year-old woman, initially gave a false name.
And then she uttered the words that would change everything. "My name is J.C. Dugard."
The news of J.C. Dugard's discovery reverberated around the world. After 18 years of heartache and unanswered questions, the missing girl from South Lake Tahoe was found alive.
J.C.'s reunion with her family was a moment of overwhelming emotion, a bittersweet blend of joy and disbelief.
The world watched in awe as J.C. Dugard began the arduous journey of healing and reclaiming her life. She displayed incredible courage and resilience, choosing to focus on her recovery and the well-being of her daughters.
J.C.'s strength and determination became a beacon of hope, an inspiration to others who had endured unimaginable trauma.
She established the JIC Foundation, an organization dedicated to supporting families impacted by abduction and providing resources for survivors. J.C.'s story, though born of tragedy, became a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of speaking out, and the enduring belief in the possibility of hope and healing. From the shadowy streets of Los Angeles to the quiet neighborhoods of South Lake Tahoe, we've journeyed through 4 chilling cold cases, each a stark reminder of the darkness that can touch even the most ordinary lives. We've seen how the relentless pursuit of justice, fueled by advancements in DNA technology and the unwavering dedication of investigators, can pierce the veil of mystery and bring closure to families who've waited years for answers. These cases are more than just stories. They're stark illustrations of how technology, persistence, and unexpected breakthroughs can bring justice. The Golden State Killer, once a phantom terrorizing California, unmasked by the power of genetic genealogy. Alice Perry denied justice for decades, her case finally solved by a single fingerprint and the tireless pursuit of truth. The grim sleeper, brought down by a discarded pizza crust and the determination to hold him accountable for his heinous crimes, and J.C. Dugard, her story a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unwavering belief in hope, even in the face of unimaginable darkness. Which case shocked you most? Do you believe that advancements in technology can help solve more mysteries and bring closure to families of cold cases? Share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to Crime Bite for more chilling true crime stories that uncover the darkest secrets and hidden truths. Stay tuned.